The New York Mets are 3 wins away from a National League championship. And the New York Jets made a blockbuster trade within the last few hours. We will get to the disgrace that was at MetLife Stadium, but I'll give you a quick tease on how I feel. That term, same old Jets, was invented for games like last night. Joe Beningo's famous rant, you could change the jerseys, you could change the coach, you could change the stadium, you could change the quarterback, and it's the same crap that was built for last night. So I promise you deep from my soul, we will get to last night. But a few hours ago, the New York Jets decided, you know what? Let's try to make sure no one talks about what happened last night. It's like the mind eraser. And so they went out and they traded for Davante Adams. And I am able, Tiki, to compartmentalize. I'm able to be pissed off and worried about what happened last night. And also say to you that this was an absolute no-brainer. The Jets are better because they made this trade. I believe the Jets had to make this trade. And I keep my fingers crossed, and I ask the football gods, pretty please, that it's all going to work out. But when you're in this deep, you got to keep digging.
Well, you keep digging because despite sitting at 2-4 right now, you are a game out from being in the wild card in the NFL because of the extra wild card. And you go look at really all the standings, and I'm looking at Buffalo. They're fantastic. Pittsburgh is good. Obviously, the Baltimore Ravens are really good. Houston has been good, and the Kansas City Chiefs have been good. So you look at those 5 teams. There's still a couple more teams left. And so who are those teams, you ask? Well, right now, it's the L.A. Chargers, and it's the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, with Bo Nix at quarterback, sitting at 3-3, are currently in the conversation for the wild card. And the Jets are a game back. We talked about them being a game back going into last night's game from being on top of the division. Obviously, they lost, but they're now a game back from the wild card. And so they're nowhere near out of it. It's not like they're the Patriots at 1-5 struggling with a rookie quarterback now under center. You have Aaron Rodgers, and you just got one of his favorite historical targets in Davante Adams.
Right.
And so, I mean, I hate to be Aaron Boone, but it is literally right in front of you.
No, and
it's a game in front of you. So go take care of business against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are likely to, unfortunately for them, start Russell Wilson at quarterback and give you all the advantage that you need to get yourselves back on a winning track with a guy who had a hamstring injury, but now he looks like he's going to be fine. Right. At least if you listen to him on McAfee with Aaron Rodgers this afternoon. So, you should be excited if you're a Jets fan, despite the disjointed nature of the first part of this season.
I'm excited, but I'm also pissed off. I think that you can have 2 separate emotions. If you're a Jet fan and you sat there or you went to MetLife Stadium last night, I don't know how you're not angry. I don't know how you're not pissed off. That was a very winnable game. And for a myriad of reasons we'll get into, they blew it, which has been the story of this season, losing games that are right there in front of them. Now, earlier today, they go out and trade for an elite-level wide receiver. I'm not overly concerned about the compensation package. It's a 3rd-round pick that's conditional and could move up to a 2nd-round pick. And by the way, if it moves up to a 2nd-round pick, that means amazing things happen for Davante Adams and the New York Jets, because one of the prerequisites for it to move up to a 2nd-round pick is the Jets being in the AFC Championship game.
Right.
Which...
Oh, he's got to be a starter in the AFC. He's got to be active in the AFC Championship game.
I assume it's hand in hand.
Yes.
So I'm okay. I'm okay, especially when you're in this deep. Because we're in this deep, fellas. Ladies, we're in deep. Okay? I'm not telling you it's going to work. I'm not giving you a pep talk. I'm not going to blow smoke up your derriere like Positive Tommy does. I'm being honest. When you're in this deep, you've got no other choice. But to my fellow Jet fans and to the non-Jet fans, there is one thing that I've heard a lot over the last 4 hours that needs to be attacked. And I think Tiki already preemptively attacked it. The idea, because I heard BT say this, and he comes from a good place because he's a Jet fan, but I also heard Sean Morash say it. And Sean comes from a terrible place because he's a disgusting troll.
Hey.
And that is, it's too little, too late.
No, it's not.
That's ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
Ridiculous!
The games are right in front of you to go out and win, and the Jets can do that. I just laid out why the Pittsburgh Steelers might be vulnerable. And we already know that the New England Patriots are on the struggle bus heavily. Now, it's going to be tough against Houston, but at least that game's at home, right? And then you have the Arizona Cardinals, who are beatable, and the Indianapolis Colts, who are beatable, and then you get a bye week.
Right.
And then, so, in theory, you should win 4 of the next 5 games. And so if you do that, you're now all of a sudden 7-4. You feel confident about yourself. You feel good about yourself. And Aaron Rodgers starts to stop throwing his receivers under the bus about running on the red line, wherever the hell that is, if you know what that is. I know what it is because I played in the league.
I have no idea what it is.
I practiced in the league because that's the only way you would know what the hell he's talking about. But whatever he was doing, he was throwing Mike Williams under the bus.
Yes.
Clearly.
Yes.
And Mike Williams likely won't be on the team next week. So it's all of that noise. When Aaron Rodgers talked about it last year, all this stuff that's not related to blah, 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 half of it was him. Now, hopefully the noise can go away because they're going to be good.
The Jets have a lot of problems. We've touched on just a few of them. But the idea that it's too late is just not true. We are 6 games into a football season. Am I worried? Of course I am. Was I pissed off last night? Of course I was. Did I have a tough time sleeping, even though I tried to think about nothing but Mark Vientos hitting a grand slam at Dodger Stadium? Yeah. But there is time. So the idea of, well, I like Davante Adams, but why are you doing it now? Why wouldn't you do it now? You're trying to win. This season isn't over. And there's a difference,
By the way, you
Sean.
have no choice but to try to go win now.
Absolutely. And look, there's very few people that fully understand this. Loogie has no idea. Sean half understands this. BT doesn't understand this. G doesn't understand this. And I'm jealous that they don't understand this because Brooklyn Net fans did this. We experienced this whole ordeal, right? And the one thing I learned from the Brooklyn Net experience, and I say this with beautiful hazel eyes looking into your eyes, I have no regrets.
The Nets still in the league?
It didn't work, but they had to go all in. And so what's my experience like? My experience is you don't give up halfway in. You have to go all in. So if you have a chance to trade for a top wide receiver in this league, who I still think has it, and a guy who has a great relationship on the field and off the field with the quarterback who you can hate and you can rep, but he's their only hope. You have to do it.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And math-wise, like it's just arguing with math to say at 2-4 it's too late. It's just arguing with math. So if you want to argue with mathematics, Sean, you be my guest.
Yep.
But that is the dumbest argument against this trade to say, gee, it's too late. It's not too late. They're not 7-9.
Evan. First of all, a couple things are true here. You're right. I saw half of this as a Nets fan, and I think the Jets should make this trade. So that's not the point because you're already so far invested. But you're so damn focused on too little too late when it comes to time. Mm-hmm. Yes, mathematically, it's not too little too late. It is, however, too little too late when it comes to roster building and understand what this team is missing. We have seen the flaws of the New York Jets, and the Jets weren't a premier receiver with great chemistry away now from Aaron Rodgers.
By the way, I agree that this isn't like the final piece. Like, this doesn't fix the brutal penalties from yesterday. This doesn't fix a liquored-up kicker. Sorry, that's a Peyton Manning line. Greg Zuerlein is not a liquored-up kicker. Just a really crappy kicker all of a sudden. That doesn't excuse those other mistakes. So I'm not going to argue that, but it makes them better.
Okay, it makes them better, but I think we could all agree now as we see the New York Jets and what they were last year with Zach Wilson and through 6 weeks of this year, we have thrown around the word talent all willy-nilly about this team, and they have plenty of talented players, don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But this team is not nearly as talented as we tried to make it out to be for the last year and a half. This defense, especially after letting John Franklin Myers walk, especially after losing Johnson, they don't have premier edge rushers on this team right now. Quinnen Williams is very good. He's not elite anymore, or maybe what he was.
Quinnen Williams has sucked, by the way. Yeah. I'll be the first to tell you.
Exactly.
Their run defense is inexcusable.
And we don't have to go through the whole roster, but Quincy Williams and Sauce Gardner are awesome. After that, the defense is one giant question mark that seemingly can't get a big stop, including on Josh Allen late in that game.
Sean, what you're doing, and it's all like fair stuff, is explaining why you don't think the Jets are going to turn their season around.
That's why it's too little too late.
No, it's not too little too late. See, everything you said is fine to say, hey, guys, I don't think the Jets are turning it around, which, by the way, is the majority of people right now. If you ask me, do I think the Jets are turning it around? Ask me.
Do you think they're turning it around?
No!
But it's too little.
No,
that's the point,
But that doesn't
though.
mean you don't try.
Exactly.
And I'm not
Just
saying not to
because
try.
my opinion is probably similar to yours that I don't believe this is turning around doesn't mean you could sit here in the middle of October and say, oh, gee, they traded for Davante Adams. Too little, too late. That's ridiculous.
The amount of games left in math tell you it's not too late. All I am saying is it's too little too late in convincing any of us that this roster was a Davante Adams away.
It's
That's
not
all.
that they're a Davante Adams away, but here's the dead honest truth. If the New York Jets executed a play here and there over the last 3 weeks, they wouldn't be 2-4. They'd be 4-2, maybe 5-1. And I know that's the NFL, trust me. But that's how close they've been to winning these games, despite all those issues you laid out.
Okay.
What?
All right.
What do you want from me?
There's breaking NFL news.
Okay, break the glass.
It ties into Davante Adams.
Let's hear it.
The Bills are trying to go counterpunch with the Jets here.
Good.
They have traded for a number one wide receiver.
Huh.
They've gotten Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns.
Get out of here.
Wow.
I guess I got to update my
Depth chart?
My depth chart.
Tiki's doing the Bills this
Doing
weekend.
the Bills game this weekend.
You know what? Can I be honest about this? I want to respond to this. I don't care. Now, I don't mean I don't care as if you shouldn't have brought it up. It's huge NFL news.
I care.
No, and you should care. And as a football fan, I care. What I mean by I don't care is right now, if you're a Jet fan, it's just about the Jets. It's about them fixing their issues. So I get Buffalo just got better by trading for Amari Cooper.
And by the way, they needed to fix their number one issue. They don't have a number one
Absolutely.
wide receivers, and it was talked about on the broadcast a little bit last night. I mean, Keon Coleman, they just drafted in the first round out of FSU. He's still a rook. He's still got a lot to figure out. And Khalil Shakir, who was
Their
supposed
leading
to be their
receiver
guy,
yesterday was running back Ray Davis.
right? It was the longest pass that I think he's had all season long.
Tiki,
So
from a football perspective, like for you, you're calling the Bill game this weekend, big deal. I say to the Buffalo Bills, that's a good deal for them. They've gotten better, good for them.
they're ahead of you already, so it doesn't even matter.
Exactly.
That's why it doesn't matter.
Exactly. The I don't care is not an I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a, right now, the Jets got to fix the Jets. Right now, the Jets have to worry about the Jets. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep over the Buffalo Bills getting better because, truthfully, winning yesterday enhanced their chances of winning the AFC East a lot. And the Jets can still win the AFC East. There is time, but they got to fix things. So good for the Buffalo Bills. They get Amari Cooper. Have you heard a compensation package just to compare it to what the Jets gave up for Davante?
I haven't, but I thought it was worth mentioning based on this whole Adams combo.
Yeah,
Definitely
this
worth
is
mentioning.
from Diana Rossini. Mm-hmm. Yep, we don't have the details yet, but she was the one who broke it.
Yeah.
And they definitely needed to. Look at last night's game. Ray Davis was their leading receiver. Dalton Kincaid, tight end, was their second leading receiver. And then you got Curtis Samuel and Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir. So absolutely good move for the Buffalo Bills. But questioning if the Jets can turn this around, which I do. I raise my hand. I'm not an optimistic Jet fan right now. You'd almost have to be a fool to be optimistic, is far different than shrugging your shoulders at a Davante Adams trade and saying it's too late. It's not too late. It's not. If Mike Williams doesn't slip and Aaron Rodgers makes a better throw, they win yesterday. If Garrett Wilson, I know there was a lot of contact and I didn't play in the NFL, but if Garrett Wilson holds onto that ball in the end zone, they win yesterday. And more importantly, if Greg freaking Zuerlein can make a damn field goal, two of them to be exact,
Doinked.
they win the game. So they're not as far off as it can be if we're just breaking down the inefficiencies to the roster because they should have won every game the last 3 weeks.
If. Do you think the Jets are getting any better at kicker between here and now and the end of December?
They can't get worse.
Do you think
he missed a 32-yard field goal, Sean?
Do you think the team, and I know last night when we'll get to it, you think the team's going to be any less penalized going forward the way that we've seen? They've been like this for a year and a half.
Sean,
Yeah, but
that's not the point.
But it is the point. You
No,
keep
it's
saying
not.
if these things didn't happen through the first 6 weeks,
But
these
Sean,
things are going to continue to happen.
It's the NFL. It's not linear. It's not this has been going on. It has to continue. You're right that I'm not confident it's going to change. But when you utter it's too late, that's a poo-pooing, arrogant, out-of-touch comment. It's not too late. If the Jets beat the Steelers on Sunday, they're in it. Right?
Right, they are. They are. And that's what I started by saying. The wild card gives you a chance to make up ground when you start a season in a terrible fashion. You can say the same thing about the Giants, to be honest with you. Now, do I believe in the Giants as much as I now do believe in the Jets? I don't know. Daniel Jones got to play a whole lot better before you start saying the Giants have a chance to get to the wild card. But Aaron Rodgers looked pretty damn good last night.
He played well.
And, save for that last interception with 2 minutes to go, why take that shot at that point, I'm not positive, but it was a bad throw. We knew what the Mike Williams situation was because he explained it after the game, and they went out and made themselves better afterwards by getting Davante Adams. So the only thing you could do is look forward to the positive and stop worrying about all the negative stuff that's happened behind you.
I think it's fine to bitch about the negative. We're going to do a lot of that today, I promise you. But the one thing I won't do, because I think it's stupid for any sports fan to do it, I think Met fans certainly learned their lesson back in early June, is to say, it's too late, it's over. It's not over. Doesn't mean you're confident, doesn't mean you expect it to change, and doesn't mean you just shrug your shoulders and say, it didn't work. You have to keep trying. And one of the lessons I've learned about a team that goes all in, the way my basketball team did a few years ago, is even if it doesn't work, you can't just give up. Once you give up, you're blowing the whole thing up. And I can promise you this, if the New York Jets finish the season the way I fear, and they go 6-11 or 7-10, and they miss the postseason, then yes, they'll blow it up.
Right.
And we'll all be lockstep in that. But when you're 6 weeks into a season and you're 2-4, and every freaking week there's one thing that costs you a victory, and you've got a veteran Hall of Fame quarterback on your roster, and you just made a coaching change, you have to keep trying.
You do, but it is a bunch of ifs. By the way, the compensation for Amari Cooper is a third-round pick, similar to Davante Adams of the Jets, but additionally, there's a pick swap added in. So no conditions, just a pick swap. Now, we don't have the details on what that pick swap is. It doesn't even matter. It's going to be some 6th or 7th rounder. Who cares? The short story is Amari Cooper is now a Bill, and they got better.
Very similar kind of compensation deal.
Yes.
Davante Adams is a New York Jet. Amari Cooper is a Buffalo Bill, and the New York Jets last night blew an absolute golden opportunity to be a first-place team in the AFC East.